Hello, everyone. The music you just heard is an invitation to settle down into your seats and prepare for the start of our worship service. Before we begin, I have a few quick announcements. I hope you all have received one of our Sunday handouts, and you can check out what we have coming up. There are many events related to Black History Month that we'd like to call your attention to. We have a film series at the library. There's an art panel discussion. There is a local play. There are many items that might be of interest to you, so I hope you check it out. And then for us in the congregation, we also have a new adult RE, religious education class starting. We have our book club. And of course, we have our social justice projects that need your involvement and support. Let us now begin. Good morning and welcome to San Gabriel Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Whether you are here in the sanctuary or watching from home, we are so glad you are here. My name is Corinna Whiteaker-Lewis. My pronouns are she, her, and 7 years ago, I came to San Gabriel to serve as your Director of Religious Education. At San Gabriel, we welcome all, and today that means all ages. Normally, our children stay in the service for the first 15 minutes or so, and then they go to the little house to play and learn. But on the first Sunday of the month, we all stay together with a shortened worship service, and then time for discussion and activities after. We might hear a little more noise and see a little more movement than we do on a normal Sunday. Let us welcome each other and model for one another patience and understanding, smiles, and a helping hand. I had a few parents. We had one child who was going to perform our offertory this morning, and they called in sick. And so I've heard from a few families, and I'm sorry, last week we had a lot, and today we don't. So it's just how it goes. San Gabriel is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association. There are over 1,000 UU congregations across the United States and in the world. All of us together are working for a just, peaceful, and sustainable world. Sustaining each other here in community is the first step down the long road of that important work. We especially welcome any newbies, any guests, any visitors today. If this is your first time here, thank you for coming. We hope you will stay for coffee and conversation after the service. And members, please do look for those visitor tags and extend a hearty welcome. And if you would like to know more about us, you can fill out the visitor's card that's in front of you in the seat back pocket, and that will get you on our email list, and you'll receive our newsletter. Please know that whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We are going to greet this day in song. We are going to sing This Little Light of Mine. The lyrics will be projected, but they're also number 118 in our gray hymnal. We can stay seated for this. We don't need to stand. That way everybody can see. hope that got your blood pumping a little. Always good. As we light our chalice, we create sacred space together. I call you into this time of connection within, among, and beyond with the words of Reverend Dr. David Breeden. We gather into this circle. We gather into this circle of care to dream, to envision, to embody and achieve the compassion we dream, the justice we envision, the dignity of each in an ever-growing circle of love and justice. Children have also been learning some words and hand signs to light the chalice. So we can say those, and then we'll have a little magic to light this special candle today. So we say, we light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. You can even make a little chalice with those two U's. And that we are a church of open minds, and we are a church of loving hearts, and we are a church of helping hands. Okay, so are we ready? I need your help. We're going to do the magic. We're going to count to 3 and clap. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, fabulous. The chalice is now lit. And we still have our Wonder Box moment. It's making some noise today. We use love to help each other learn and grow with our wondering minds. When we hear each other's ideas, we learn new things. Does anybody have a guess as to what might be in here today?
Valentine's.
What was that?
Valentine's.
Valentine's. Lovely. Y'all are often on season. Crayons. Cheese? Did I hear cheese? Keys. Hearts. All right, we're going to open it up. I've got, can you see what they are? Candles. What kind of candles? They are birthday candles. What does that make you think of? Well, birthdays. Cakes. Celebrations. Today is the birthday of Rosa Parks. So raise your hand if you know who she was. That's right. She was born on this day in 1913. It was a long time ago. She lived to be 92. She died in 2005. So let's see what our Wonder Box story today is going to tell us about Rosa Parks. And I have the book with me, so I'm going to read it. But you can also follow along with the slides. All right. Rosa grew up near Montgomery, Alabama, with her mother, brother, and grandparents. She was very little and very brave, and she always tried to do what was right. When she was young, Rosa's grandparents told her stories about slavery, when black people weren't free to live like other people. Slavery was over, but times were still hard for Rosa and her family. Black people were treated very badly and told they were not equal to white people. Every day, Rosa watched the school bus go by, taking white children to their big school. It didn't stop for her. She had to walk a long way to the one-room school that was just for black children. Rosa knew this wasn't right. She knew she was a regular person just as good as anyone else. Lots of times she had to make sure other people knew that too. When Rosa grew up and got a job in the city, she couldn't use the same doors, elevators, bathrooms, or water fountains as white people. She could ride the bus, but she had to sit in the back. Her life was full of rules that she knew weren't right. Rosa fell in love with a man named Raymond who was trying to change the rules to be more fair and equal. Soon Rosa started working too, trying to get more rights for black people and help for those who were treated badly. She worked day after day, even when it seemed like nothing would ever change. On her way home from the city one day, a bus driver told Rosa to stand up so a white person could take her seat. She was sick of rules she knew were wrong. She thought, enough. She said no. Rosa was taken to jail. She wasn't scared because she knew that she was fighting for what was right. When Rosa came home that night, she talked with her friends and family about what to do. She decided to keep fighting, no matter how hard it would be. Black people all over the city heard what had happened to Rosa, and they thought, enough. Rosa inspired them to stop riding the buses until the rules changed. So they walked to school and to work and to the store in all kinds of weather. Rosa traveled the country from New York to San Francisco to convince other people to join the fight. Finally, after 1 year, the Supreme Court decided that treating black people differently from white people on buses was wrong. The rules were going to change. It was no longer safe for Rosa to live in Alabama. She moved to Detroit and fought for fair schools, jobs, and houses for black people. She fought for voting rights, women's rights, and the rights of people in prison. When Rosa was an older woman, she was given awards and told she was a hero, but she knew who she was, a regular person just as good as anyone else, and she had work to do. The end. And you can see there's a timeline of her, with photographs of the long, long life she led involved in this work. Did you learn anything new today? Was there anything that you learned about Rosa that you didn't know before that you're willing to share? You didn't know she moved to Detroit. Yes, Alabama in the South she was harassed, she lost her job, her husband lost her job. For her own safety, she had to leave. Is there anything else new that you may have learned? She grew up with her grandparents. She had a brother. One thing she was
in love with the man, white man?
No, he was light-skinned though. And her father actually passed for white. And I'll get to that in a minute. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Yeah, one thing she really wanted people to know was that she was not tired. The stories that people told was that she was an old woman who was tired and she just wasn't going to get up anymore. But this was actually she planned, calculated thing, and I'll get to that in a minute. It is Black History Month, but Black history isn't over. One of the things I learned while working with the Poor People's Campaign that we marched from Georgetown to Austin a few years ago is that the work for justice is a movement, not a moment. They said that a lot. It's a movement, not a moment. Rosa Parks was 42 years old when she refused to give up her seat. She and her husband had been pushing back against oppression, working hard for the rights of black people for many years before that. She had been a member of the NAACP since 1943, and it was December 1st, 1955, when Mrs. Parks made her decision. It was just a few months after Emmett Till's murderers were acquitted, and she later said she had been thinking of him and felt she just couldn't go back to the back of the bus. Several other people had already been arrested for not giving up their seats in the months leading up to that date. Organizers at the time, among them Dr. King, were strategic about using Mrs. Parks' refusal as the launching of the Montgomery bus boycott because she was respected, married, employed, middle-aged, polite, and unassuming. On the day of the trial, 35,000 leaflets were distributed asking people to boycott the buses. That boycott lasted over a year, and Rosa Parks and her husband lost their jobs and had to move away for their safety. That was 1955. The Civil Rights Act was not passed until 1964. With all of the violence and loss of life that happened in between and still continues. While there may be key moments in history, as Frederick Douglass says, power concedes nothing without a demand. It is a movement, not a moment, the bending of the arc of history towards justice that we as UUs are called to undertake. St. Gabriel subscribes to a UU curriculum called Soul Matters, which offers resources for our small groups, our connection groups, our worship services, and for religious education. And the theme changes each month. And for February, our theme is justice and equity. It's from that curriculum, which is focusing on our values as they are expressed in our new Unitarian Universalist Association covenant. Justice and equity are two of those values, along with transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. All of these which are grounded in the core value of love. The wording is, for justice, we work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive, democratic processes to make decisions. For equity, we say we declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. We will have time after the service today to explore those values with your fellow congregants. There's some questions on these two tables over here. And I encourage you to look at those questions and those quotes and chat with your friends as a way to kind of deepen your understanding of our faith. Our social justice team works hard to educate us about the social injustices in our community and gives us opportunities to make change. Living in Texas, a low-tax, low-service state, we can easily see how injustices in many different areas of life are interrelated. The stripping of funding for education, the refusal to support basic services of any kind, be it healthcare, shelter, fair employment, transportation, food, safety, that list goes on. For if all people, regardless of their racial or gender identities, were to have a path to social and economic security, then that would threaten the current status of economic, racial, and social inequality on which empire, those in power, depend to remain in power. Right now on our border, we see Governor Abbott defy federal access to parts of the Rio Grande through Shelby Park. As reported by Judd Legum on January 26, Texas rejected the Department of Homeland Security's request for access and stated Texas will continue to protect its southern border against every effort by the Biden administration to undermine the state's constitutional right of self-defense. The conflict will almost certainly end up back at the Supreme Court, and Texas is inviting a constitutional crisis by signaling that it is prepared to ignore the Supreme Court if it does not get its way. This is political maneuvering to make immigration a political issue during a presidential campaign year. And it is an example of empire attempting to maintain its power and control. For who is easier to marginalize and place in the category of other than those who we see as not a part of us, as somehow different and threatening? This in a country built on stolen land where everyone here but the indigenous have ancestors who came from somewhere else or were forcibly brought here as slaves to again build up the empire for those in power. We know that none of us is free until we are all free. That racism is a tool meant to divide our ability to see one another as whole people, strong in our interdependence. The New York Times reports how, in her book, The Sum of Us, Heather McGhee details the many ways racism has defeated efforts to create a more economically just America. Once the civil rights movement expanded America's conception of the public, white America's support for public goods collapsed. I just want to think about that for a minute. I'll repeat that. Once the civil rights movement expanded America's conception of the public, white America's support for public goods collapsed. People of color have suffered the most from the resulting austerity, but it's made life a lot worse for most white people, too. McGee's central metaphor is that of towns and cities that closed their public pools rather than share them with Black people, leaving everyone who couldn't afford a private pool materially worse off. So again, when we think to a low-tax, low-service state like ours, which leaves everyone behind while enriching the very few, in this new Gilded Age we are living in. So what to do? It is a movement, not a moment. When we see injustice, we get close to those who are paying the price and learn to listen to what they need. And then as a community, we support one another in the actions that take the power of empire, be it through the vote, through boycotting, by working to move a monument, through refusing to look away, as Rosa Parks did. We choose to be in community, to do those things, and we offer each other comfort here in this sacred time we create together. It is a radical thing, this love. Speaking of love, what holiday do we have coming up? That's right. We have Valentine's, and I thought as one small healing thing that we could do is send some Valentines to an organization that's been helping folks for a long time, Casa Marianela in Austin. Casa Marianela welcomes displaced immigrants and promotes self-sufficiency by providing shelter and support services. Their ultimate vision is that all immigrants arriving in Austin and Central Texas will have safe housing and access to the services they need to be successful. 65% of their shelter residents, including children, are asylum seekers, many coming to us from immigration detention. So at the back, in addition to the questions to ponder things, we also have card-making supplies, so you can make some Valentines for family and friends, and also some for the people at Casa Marianela. And we will mail all of those together from here, from San Gabriel. And I even have some suggested things that you might say on those Valentines. Hold out hope, my friends, and do the little and big that affirm our common humanity. Let love be our guide. May it be so. All right, let's pause and just take a deep breath, because that's a lot. Just feel that go through relaxation through your body. We can reflect on how we as UUs embody justice and equity. Take deep breaths. One way we do that is by listening to one another and learning from one another, as we do in our sharing of joys and sorrows, gratitudes and concerns. So we are going to settle into our seats and give each other the gift of attention right now. Now is a time for sharing how you're feeling, what is on your heart, what joy or gratitude you want to lift up, what pain or concern you want to ease through sharing. We can create a circle of caring together. Is there anyone who'd like to share? I think the microphone's up here.
Good morning. I'm Jamie Johnson, and I'm visiting from the Unitarian Society of New Haven in Connecticut.
Yay! Woo!
Y'all are doing good work down here. I'm visiting my mom, who has been coming for about a year. And I want to let you know that we have a great sorrow this morning. my mom's husband of 60 years, my dad, died on Tuesday. And so we appreciate your holding us in your hearts as we journey through this sadness.
I feel so lucky that last night I had a special gift. I lived in an independent resident community, and they had a movie last night that won 2 Academy Awards, one for Best Picture and one for Best Actor in 2018. The movie is The Green Book. The Green Book. Many of you have already seen it. I saw it in 2018. I saw it last night again. It is wonderful.
Good morning, everybody. It's Michelle. A joy. I see Bob Gurman here today. Thank you, Bob, for joining us. It's wonderful to see you. I miss some of our friends. I know they're live streaming and are watching, but it's wonderful to actually see folks in person. I do have a concern to lift up. It's regarding Pat Laird. She is here in Austin facing serious surgery on Wednesday for breast cancer. So she does welcome your emails. I have an address for her. There's a card on the welcome table if you would like to sign it. We'll send it to her.
Let's take a moment and adopt an attitude of prayer, of meditation, of quiet as we extend our good wishes to those who are suffering the loss of a beloved father and husband, as we extend good wishes for healing to beloved congregant, and we lift up in joy the inspiration of art in our lives that help us to learn and grow. Amen and blessed be. As a meditation on the joys and sorrows we just heard, let us sing number 155, and the gray hymnal lyrics will also be projected, Circle Round for Freedom. And our hymn leaders will sing the song through once as an introduction, and then we will join in and sing it 2 more times. There are some harmony parts written in the hymnal if you'd like to sing either of those the second time. All right.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us in prison. Circle for release.
We take an offering each week to sustain this place that we call home and to support the work of our fellowship. If this is your first time here, please feel free to let the plate pass you by. Your presence this morning is a wonderful gift in and of itself. So thank you for coming. And if you have filled out one of those visitors' cards, now's the time to place it in the basket. The offertory music is Honey by Nathaniel Dett, one of the leading Black composers of his era and the first Black graduate of Oberlin Conservatory. Is from a collection of 5 pieces called The Bottoms, written in 1913, that depicts moods and scenes from African American life in the river bottoms of the South. This offering will now be gratefully received, and thank you. Chalice together. So we're going to ask for your help with that. We say, as we leave this friendly place, love give light to every face. Love give light to every face. May the kindness which we learn light our hearts till we return. Okay, so ready? 1, 2, 3. We're getting expert at this. I leave you with these words. Take these with you, good people. From the Reverend Elena Westbrook. Go in hope, for the arc of the universe is long, and we can bend it toward justice. Go in courage, for together we have the strength to confront injustice in our daily lives and the larger world. Go in love, because a holy and generous love is both the reason and the means by which we transform our lives. So again, grab yourself a cup of coffee, have a seat, look at some of those questions and quotes about how justice and equity inform us in our day-to-day. Come make a Valentine for your loved one, for someone who is maybe not feeling loved, who's found their way to us. And then look again at this handout for things, important, good things that are coming in the week. All right.